you're not a fan of the heat, then you might want to just kind of cover your eyes here, because we go through the next couple of days. We're on a warming trend, and Chino is showing a great example of what we're going to be seeing as we head into the weekend. Back quickly up into the upper 90s and low 100s, and then we will start to gradually cool off again as we get into next week. It's still, though, a little unclear if we're going to be watching for this ridge of high pressure to completely shift and allow for a nice cool down, or if we're going to be kind of stuck with above average temperatures like essentially what we've had for much of this week. In fact, we've been stuck with above average temperatures for a good portion of this month. Here's what it looks like for downtown Los Angeles. The last time we had a below average day was July 12th. Today we are 87 degrees, so we had a little bit of a cool down from the weekend, but the remainder of the month, we're just going to be looking at temperatures warming up once again. Let me show you the reason for this. We have an area of high pressure that's been sitting near the Four Corners region, but it has been slightly east of the Four Corners area, and that's allowed temperatures to cool just a few degrees. But as we go through the remainder of the week, this area of high pressure starts paying a visit to Southern California, and as it gets closer and closer, temperatures will be really starting to warm up. But some good news, it does look like the position of this high pressure is actually going to kind of cut off the amount of monsoonal moisture we might get in the area. So we're not expecting to get a big increase of humidity. I think some of the coastal areas might still feel some of the humidity, but that's more related to our warm Pacific Ocean right now rather than any of the monsoonal moisture. So expect a dry heat across our inland spots getting into the weekend. Then as we get into next week, this area of high pressure actually gets shoved to the south a bit, and this is not the ideal spot for it to just continue to bake us. In fact, we'll actually see temperatures cool a few degrees to the start of next week, and then the jury's still out on whether or not this is going to build back over our area or continue to just sort of sit to our south, and that'll have a big impact on whether or not temperatures stay well above average for this time of year or slightly below average. So I mentioned that as we get into the end of the week, we're not really looking at much monsoonal moisture in the area. This is the moisture futurecast to prove it. This brown color that you're seeing over the state, that's an indication of dry air. Here's all the monsoonal moisture. It's all this bright coloring over northern Mexico and southern Arizona. So as we go through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you see that it's just staying down to our south and to our southeast, and that means that we're really not looking at much, if anything, in the way of humidity across the region, aside again from some of our coastal spots. So we're looking at the upper 90s and low 100s across the Inland Empire for tomorrow, a bit warmer across the entire region by about a degree or two. The warming really starts to kick off, though, as we get into Friday, Saturday, and the Saturday timeframe as well. Basin forecast is on top, coastal forecast on the bottom, upper 80s for tomorrow for the basin, then into the low to mid 90s around downtown LA as we get into the start of the weekend before we start to slowly cool down, but we still stay above average for this time of year as we get into the middle of next week. You'll see that here for the inland spots as well. Valleys on top, i.e. forecast down below. A reminder, i.e. we are starting to see our heat alert start tomorrow. For the valleys, that'll start up on Friday. Both spots looking at widespread triple digits for Saturday and only a little bit cooler as we get into the start of next week. We have the high desert on top, low desert forecast down below. Also look at that warming trend through about Saturday, peaking around 107. Very warm overnight temperatures coming our way with really lows only getting down to the upper 70s. And same for the mountains. Next couple of days are warming up. We've also got some relatively warm overnight temperatures for the mountain spots in the mid to upper 50s, close to the 60s.